Welcome to the Region Free Gamers podcast. On this episode, we're talking about Mario's best adventure ever. And no, it's not the one where he went to the hotel. Welcome, everybody, to the Region Free Gamers podcast, the podcast fluent in gaming. We're here for another episode, jumping back into the world of pipe diving and turtle stomping in 16-bit this time, though. We did do a Super Mario trilogy on the NES episode a way while back, but now we're getting to the good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're getting into the 90s. This is what I like. I love the smell of the 90s in the morning. Super Mario World time, everybody. Clap, everybody. Yay. Cheers. People cry, kissing everywhere. But before we get into that, as always, thank you to all the fans, always for listening, for watching us on Twitch. If you're a part of that, you can, if you want to be a part of that, you can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/regionfreegamers. Other than that, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Discord, anywhere you can find podcasts or people talking about their podcasts and promoting themselves. And if you want to be our best friend, even better than Patreon supporters, because money is fleeting, folks. But you know what isn't? It's love. It's praise. Go on iTunes. Leave me a review about me personally. It doesn't even have to be about the show. Talk about how much you love me.
So selfish. I knew you would like this.
Exactly. And then I'll invite you to the secret Discord. That's just for people who like me.
Man, I gotta go leave a review then. I want to be there. I want to be there too.
Talk about how handsome I am, how good my voice sounds, even before Paul's edited it.
Does it count if it's on the UK iTunes store? Does that count as well?
Yes, I will. I'll give you partial credit for it.
Okay,
great. So, Super Mario World, this is going to be a big episode. I'm really excited. I'm going to need some help because this is way too much just for me to do it. Luckily, I've got a few extra Yoshis who are willing to join me. And so I'm going to introduce you to them right now. I'm going to say the red Yoshi, Anthony Arriaga. How you doing, Anthony?
Hey, Buddy X. This episode, I really want to dedicate it to the temporary closing of Super Nintendo World. So,
oh my God, I forgot about that.
Just closed yesterday, so dedicated in its honor. And I'm the red Yoshi. You know, it's funny. I just happen to have my red Puerto Rican baseball hat here, so
there we go.
That works. Boricuas.
There you go. That's right. Blue Yoshi joining us as well. Kelly, how are you doing?
Good morning. Got coffee in one hand and talking about video games. What could be better?
There you go. Life is good.
Yes.
And finally, wrapping it up with our yellow Yoshi.
Ooh.
Geoff Ivets. How you doing, Geoff?
Hey. Well, I get to be the stomping, puffing yellow Yoshi. I'm privileged. Hey, I'm looking forward to this one. Mario is one of those franchises that we all know and love, but it feels like the 16-bit often gets forgotten by Nintendo. So yeah. I'm really happy that we're talking about this one and not the NES entries for a change.
That's right. And that leaves me, the default green Yoshi, Arnie Perez, very happy.
The one that everyone loves, though.
The one that everyone always remembers. It's
That's
always
right.
the green Yoshi.
I don't know about you guys.
The plushie and yeah,
we're forgettable.
He always gets all the love, but I will say when I was playing Super Mario World for the first time, and I found the other colored Yoshis, I was over the moon. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God! And then when I found out they did different things, I was even more excited about that. I was like, oh, this is great. But I must say, I'm feeling very in tune with the world today. Got my first COVID shot recently.
Oh, nice.
The nano machines are kicking in, so I'm feeling better, faster, stronger.
You're being tracked. Now you're being tracked. It's good.
Yes, being tracked.
But it's great because I also have 5G now, so my phone is like, my internet has never been faster. You can tell by this Twitch stream, it's being powered by my mind.
Wow.
Arnie's actually asleep right now, and he's just doing this.
Projecting, yes.
Yeah. Somebody on the Twitch chat is just going to type in my code word and activate me. And I'm going to become Jack Ryan or something.
The Winter Soldier.
And it's also Near Day, isn't it? Or yesterday was Near Day. Is that right, Kelly?
Yes.
Near
Got the
Day.
White Snow edition in the mail. Looking forward so much to it.
I gotta say, I'm getting caught up in the hype of it. Like, I was like, oh man, maybe I should not repeat the mistake I made with the last 2 games and wait to try to get them cheaper when they'll never be cheaper. And then I stumbled upon an article by Yoko Taro that's like where they interviewed him, where he's basically like, this game is not going to sell well. Like, like Square Enix seems to think that because the last one sold well, this one's going to be great. And I was just like, nobody liked this game when I released it. Like, why would they like it
Right.
now? And I was just like, oh, this is like what I would be like if I was a game designer.
Yeah.
Like, just no confidence in my abilities, even after I've been proven wrong.
I had no intention of like picking this game up right now because I feel like I never have enough time to play a game like this. But Kelly, with just those photos that she keeps posting, is just, that's not right, Kelly. This isn't right. I'm like, I'm gonna fall. And you had like the soundtrack too, right? I think you posted the picture. I'm like,
yeah,
man, she just went all in.
Yeah,
it looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
I mean,
it does.
You know, if Square Enix does one thing, it's they really do make like really nice, gorgeous packaging, especially for their like collector's editions and things like that. And they price them accordingly, given the amount of work that goes into it. I remember, was it it was the remake of Final Fantasy 12. They had like a giant collector's edition like box that had like busts of every like boss in the game or something.
Yeah, it was crazy. All those knights, right? All those
the judges, I think is what they're
judges,
called.
yeah.
And I was just like, oh, like it looks great, but what am I gonna do with this realistically?
Yeah, I missed out on the Automata collector's edition, so there was no way I was going to miss out on this one.
Yeah.
So had it pre-ordered for a long time, and it said it shipped last week, and I just was watching that page for the shipping to see when it actually got out.
This is what all video game things are now. Like, there's no more standing in line outside of Best Buy like 2 days before. It's all like, I've been on the pre-order page for 7 hours, clicking refresh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this is like over the past week, right? Between this and the analog NTs shipping, everyone's been on ship watch. Yeah. Just
everyone's mice are like cracked from like clicking refresh so often.
Yep.
It's, I don't know.
Good times.
If this is the future, I'm never gonna be able to order anything ever again. I don't have the patience. I'm like, I go on the page, oh, it's not ready. I'll be back in 10 minutes. 4 hours later, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, limited run games has me trained. I've got the alarm set, like 4 or 5 alarms, just to make sure I do not forget, and I'm there right on time.
This is a level of organization that I'm not capable of.
Yeah. No, I think the last few years, when I've had to like kind of go, okay, it's 9 a.m. or like 11 a.m. I've got to be on and ordering it. And it's like during the week, I've got work, I've got meetings. I've missed out on quite a few special editions. I think I missed out on a Fire Emblem one. And I got so annoyed, and I saw people with multiple copies, and I think that like did something in my brain to make me go, you know what? I'm never going to put that much emphasis in my life on a special edition again. But then, you know, like it always happens.
But then, now you can buy it for $1,000 or something. It's very affordable now.
I spent all of one Friday morning waiting for Final Fantasy VII Remake orchestra tickets to go on sale.
Oh, God.
And it was like 9 a.m. The tickets for Milan were going to be open. And it's like, all you need to do is be on this site and you can buy them. And it's like, only until midday did the site start working. And then it's like a scramble to get tickets. But it's still, there's nothing quite like getting that thing you wanted. Without realizing you wanted it, but you know, in a little moment, you kind of think that's all that matters. That matters. Everything else.
I will never stop being shocked by companies underestimating demand for things, because it's always like, all right, we're gonna release this like super limited edition thing of this series that like we know is beloved and like has sold millions of copies. All right, let's set up this website. We're gonna need like our old IBM server from like 1973. That until recently was used to like, burn like floppy disks on or something. And it's like, all right, roll that bad boy there. I think this one server will hold up for like 10 million people trying to get this thing. And like the sites immediately crash, and they're like, we apologize. We didn't know that there was so much demand.
No idea.
Yeah, we didn't know what a bot was. What's a bot? Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize. Sorry.
We thought people were really excited to order 300 copies of our collector's edition.
Every time Geoff talks, I'm so mesmerized by the startup screen for Super Mario World.
Yeah, I'm pretending I'm a YouTuber right now.
There you go.
Look at this right now. He's keep talking, Geoff.
Boom.
Make noises.
You gotta tell them to smash that subscribe button. All right, that's enough of this nonsense. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of why we're here. Super Mario World. What is there to say? Well, quite a lot, actually. Released as a launch title for the Super Nintendo, one of 2 launch titles. I know we've talked about this before, but Jesus, those bleak.
Classic Nintendo.
Fortunately, it was Super Mario World and F-Zero, so
Insane.
something there for some of us. Like mostly Super Mario, and if you're a racing game fan, then obviously F-Zero probably scratched that itch for a little bit. But Super Mario World released in 1990 in Japan, 91 in North America, 92 in Europe and Australia. So keeping the streak alive of always getting things before these dang Europeans. I think the score on episodes must be like 133 to like 7 or something in terms of when Europe got something before we did.
I think honestly, guys, the only thing that we have today is the fact that we sometimes get better special editions.
Oh,
like
you do,
that's
for
as
sure.
good as it. That's literally as good. Like you still get the games, but it's like, but we just get maybe better steelbooks or whatever. Yeah.
I mean,
that's all we've got.
I mean, it's something, right? Like, and this is like the other thing is now that's the other decision because of the internet. It's like, okay, do I want the North American special edition? Do I want the European special edition? Do I want the Japanese special edition?
Yeah.
Life was simple back then. I walked in the store, I bought the thing that was on the thing. Like, now I have 10,000 things in my face all the time, and I need them all. So back when I was shopping, I think when I got my Super Nintendo, it was the Super Mario World bundle. So that was an even easier choice for me. It's like, here's a box and there's a game in it. So that's the game you're going to play.
Good old days, man.
Yes.
But Super Mario World, developed by Nintendo EAD, previously largest software development division at Nintendo, known for Donkey Kong, Zelda, Star Fox, Animal Crossing, Pikmin, the boring stuff. But they also did like some really good games like Steel Diver, Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, which I don't know if you guys have ever played that. It's not good. And Link's Crossbow Training, which I did play and I actually liked. That was a good little demo for the Zapper. Back when things had to be demoed for people.
Yes.
Now it's just like, here's the thing, just get it. You're gonna love it. It's Ring Fit. You love it. You're gonna love it.
Figure it out.
And then following the death of Satoru Iwata, there was a little bit of a company restructuring. So in 2015, EAD merged with Nintendo Software Planning and Development to create Nintendo Entertainment Planning and Development, which is now the biggest software division in Nintendo. So the more things change, the more they stay the same, right? Published by Nintendo, obviously. And this is where we're going to start talking a little bit, and I want to get your guys' opinion because as we do with a lot of these games, you got to talk about the development team. And when you talk about Super Mario World, you're talking about a development team of like 10 people, but I want to say like 7 or 8 of them are like incredible. Like, it's like there's 10 people who developed this game, which is insane, but also like the majority of them are like transcending like video game figures in the industry. So there's director Takashi Tezuka, who wrote the story and the script for Zelda and Zelda 2. He's involved in the creation of Yoshi, which is, I think we discussed this in our older episode. Yoshi was sort of a thing that Miyamoto had wanted to do since the 8-bit days. I think at least since Mario Brothers 3, but maybe even before that. They just couldn't, it just wasn't possible. But now with the advent of Mode 7, they were like, we can have our green dinosaur that Mario rides around in. And then he had a quote that I really enjoyed about his design philosophy. He said, "I have never consciously separated casual users and hardcore gamers when I design a game. For the past 20 years, I have always been trying to make games so that anyone, as many people as possible, can enjoy them. I cannot help but say that I love my job of making games from the bottom of my heart." And the reason I really like this quote is because I feel like, especially in the Wii era specifically, there became this divide of like, oh, this is for casuals, this is for hardcore gamers, you know, and never the twain shall meet. Like, if you're doing something for the casuals, like, I don't want it. I'm a hardcore gamer. I'm cool. And I feel like this design philosophy really does, like, reflect on what Nintendo's always done, which is like, we're going to make something that people are going to say is for casual people, but you're going to play it, like, because it's fun and it's good. And I'm not going to worry about whatever labels you want to put on it. It's just going to work. You know, I don't know if you guys have felt that, but I certainly started feeling it as I grew up into a more like as I got older and I started playing more stuff and got exposed to more things. That's just like Nintendo's always been good to come back to because it's simple enough that anybody could pick up and play it. But if you really dig into it, there's always something in those games that really latches onto you, even as an older gamer. Anthony, is that something that you like experienced as well?
Yeah, I mean, I love that quote because it kind of just captures it completely. It's true though, man. There's a reason why I buy Super Mario World on every Nintendo console that they drop, you know, because it's like you said, it's like, it's your safe space. It's where you can just drop in, play a level or two, and you can make it as hardcore as you want. You know, like you really can. You can play like a level. You know, a lot of people play a Mario game. They probably don't even get past like the first world. You know, but they love the game and they'll always go back to that. I remember, especially when I was playing when Super Mario Brothers 3 first came out. Before I got my own copy, that was me. I would play like the first world, and I was like, "No, I'm good. I don't need to invest any more time in this." But I would always go back and love playing those stages, you know. So it's definitely it always has that. Nintendo always has a nostalgic kick that you can't escape. You know, it's there. Yeah. It's always going to be there. You're always going to go back, even if you hate Nintendo. You're going to go back and play their games.
You claim you hate Nintendo, but in secret, you still play them.
You played it with your Game Boy Advance under the covers, with the lamp connected. You're hiding lamp. Somewhere, people. Oh, yeah.
The little worm light.
Arnie, to your point on the casuals and hardcore, and I can't help but feel that it's a symptom of maybe a generation growing up who became more when it was Wii PS3 kind of era. Yeah, they were in their late 20s, early 30s, and it felt like they'd grown up and grown out of certain games. Yeah, and I think that's where the like people started having the misconception of who a game should be for, and started judging what people should or shouldn't be playing based on their age. And I think we were the first. When I say we, I mean like millennials, I guess. We were like, gaming was far more part of our childhood rather than a lot of maybe people who got into Atari. It was more of an obscure new thing. Nintendo, like we all know, Nintendo really brought video gaming into the masses. In an accelerated way anyway. And it just feels like our generation became like the first dickheads. And we just started telling people what they can and can't play. Like why have you got a Wii? You know, a Wii isn't for real gamers. You need a PS3 or a 360. And I was one of them, I'll be honest. I was one of them.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, exactly. But you're absolutely right. Like the one thing that made me want a Wii was the Virtual Console, because the Virtual Console was unbelievable, and I can't believe they haven't replicated it. But that's another conversation. But you know, it is. You can't help, no matter what day of the week it is, no matter what day, whatever year it is. We'll be 1995 in a home unable to use our hands and unable to talk, and we'll still be able to play the first world of Mario just by memory.
So looking forward to
That's
being
what
that age.
Oculus.
Oh my god.
Well,
No, it really was. Like, that was the era of, like, do you play Gears of War and Resistance?
Yeah.
Or do you play Wii Sports?
right.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
I mean,
You
I'll
can't
tell
do
you I
both.
play Gears, but on the
Are you
fly,
playing
like,
bowling on the Wii on
yeah,
the weekends?
I was,
Yes.
like, it was, I think it was like, if my mom likes a game console, it can't be cool. Like,
It's not cool.
I can't enjoy it.
I mean, it's funny because like even my kids, like, they're playing Call of Duty, they're playing GTA, right? And I'm over
Yeah.
here like firing up the Switch. Let me play some Yoshi's Island right now.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like, you know, 100% I had more heated and intense gamer moments playing Wii Tennis than I ever did playing Gears of War. 100%. Like, Wii Tennis ended friendships.
as it should.
And TV screens.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
So moving on from Tezuka, we come to composer Koji Kondo. And Kondo is, you know, when it comes to video game music, Kondo is up there with the greats, like the Mount Rushmore of video game composers. But just to give you a little rundown, he was hired by Nintendo in 1984 and became their first employee to specialize in video game music. So they had hired, I think, a couple other composers alongside him, but he was the first one to really just like, you do music, that's your thing. He created the Super Mario Brothers theme, which, just as I say that, is already playing in your head.
Oh, yes.
So I don't need to describe it. I've seen people play it on guitar. I've seen people play it on like 12-string bass. I've seen people drum it on paint can lids. I've seen people play this theme on xylophones, on any possible instrument you could pick up. Somebody has covered the Super Mario Brothers theme. It's probably, I would say, the most iconic piece of video game music of all time. Like, I find it hard to think of another piece of video game music that's as well remembered and well known even by people who may not play video games. But again, Kondo just has, his resume is too long. I can't talk about it here. It'd be its own episode to just list all the stuff he's done. Just know that if you've played a video game on a Nintendo console, you've absolutely heard one of Kondo's compositions. And Geoff, I want to get your opinion real quick, as I see you as sort of a resident music head, especially for video game music. I don't know if you see yourself that way, but what do you think of Kondo just as a composer? Like, do you rank him up there with like the Nobuo Uematsu's of the world?
One of the key things that I believe he tried to go after and succeeded with Super Mario World was how you can tie together a whole, like, you have that theme tune that we all have in our head already of Super Mario World, and how it fits through the whole game, and how he changed it based on the type of level design that he was in front of. Yeah, his ability to be able to take the same piece of music and make it feel like it fits no matter what the environment is masterful. Yeah. I think he showed in this game especially just how special of a composer he is, and it's incredibly difficult to. I hate comparing musicians because it's so subjective. Yeah. And I think they all hate being compared against each other as well. They do. But there is just something absolutely iconic about the music from this game. And Kondo, I mean, I would like to think that he's still benefiting financially from it as well, hopefully, because it's timeless.
Yeah, every time you boot up a Super Mario World cartridge, he gets like a 5-cent royalty check. I mean, we were just talking about it earlier, even before starting to record, like watching the Super Mario World opening screen back there, I hear the music in my head. It's eerie absolutely. How that happens sometimes, where you just like, it's like it's burned into your brainstem, like every part of it. But obviously now we got to get to the, big boss, the granddaddy, Shigeru Miyamoto, our video game dad collectively. We share him We all visit with him on the weekends. He doesn't answer our calls on the holidays.
Classic
because
dad.
he's doing more important things, which is making video games and smoking and yelling at people about video games. Hired by Nintendo in 1977, so before they were really focused on video games, a playing card and sort of toy company. I would say he's synonymous with Nintendo.
Who?
I think when I was okay, this is gonna be embarrassing, but I think when I was a kid, I say when I was a kid to try to soften the blow, but like definitely well into like the age where I should have known better, I was convinced that he was like the owner of Nintendo. Like I thought that he was like the president or something. I was like, oh yeah, that's the guy who made Mario. Like he made Mario, and then they gave him Nintendo. Like, that's how it works in Japan. You make a thing that's really cool.
Make a thing, it's yours.
It's the chicken and the egg. Who came first, Mario or Nintendo? You're not sure.
He made Donkey Kong, and they were like, sir, because of honor and tradition, you are now the owner of Nintendo. Right. We have sold all our stocks to you. Clearly, that's not how that works. Love him or hate him, he's honestly, one of the most important figures in video game history. Game we're discussing today, part of that legacy, yada, yada, yada. What more can you say about the man? I will say he did admit that after the game's release, he felt that it was incomplete and they rushed it towards the end, which... If this is what an incomplete game looks like, then damn, man, I can't wait till I see that complete game.
I want to see the director's cut. We need the director's cut of this game.
Yeah.
Like, he makes me feel like an idiot because I'm like, oh, so I wrote an entire podcast outline of a game that's not even finished? Like, okay, I guess I wasn't supposed to like this one.
This is an analogy that always winds me up in sports, right? I know, quick tangent, but basically what you get is you get a team completely annihilating a whole league, and you go, oh my god, I can't believe how good they are, and then the coach comes out and says, and we can get better, and you're like, yeah, that's what they all say, and they don't because everyone catches up. But it's always, I like Miyamoto. I respect the hell out of him, but incomplete, it's like, come on, man. Come on.
Couldn't have been me.
You can't fool me.
I would have been popping champagne. We did it.
He's just modest bragging, man. It's so clever. So clever.
I've got to wonder if this is an incomplete game. What does he think of the games of today? Because how much DLC would he want to put out for this game?
He must be such an angry man.
Right? Never happy.
The only complete game in his mind, I think, is Super Mario Maker, because you could do whatever you want in that game. He's probably like, oh, this is it. This is the perfect video game. We just have them make it. Why didn't we think of this before?
Yeah.
I didn't include this in the outline, but if you go on his Wikipedia page, there's just like a section. He sounds like an insane person. Like, one of his hobbies is apparently guessing the dimensions of things and seeing if he's right, and he carries like a tape measure around with him to measure things.
So he bets on measuring. This is a new thing.
Yeah. But this is, I think, the thing that always happens when like somebody is like really like iconic in like an industry. They're just like, there must be like a secret. There must be some magic sauce here. So like, what is it? And then they interview him and he's like, oh, I like to rearrange my furniture at like the middle of the night. It's like, what a genius. No, all these people are insane. If you talk to somebody for long enough, they'll reveal something about them that makes no sense. Oh my god. But now that we've gotten through the big three, the core sort of team that developed this game, I just want to bring it out to a little bit of a discussion here. What are some of you guys' memories about this game? Kelly, specifically you, because I know you were around when the Super Nintendo was releasing. I know you picked up a lot of games at launch. Was this a game that you picked up when it released? I mean, did it come with your Super Nintendo or something like that?
Well, I didn't get the Super Nintendo at launch,
okay.
Just because so young, I had to rely on parents to purchase everything. And my father was one that had to research absolutely everything before we bought it. So it was a couple of years before we got a Super Nintendo. But of course, it did have Super Mario World as the pack-in game. And what my father loved to do is set up the Super Nintendo or whatever we happened to get when I wasn't home, so that I would walk in and just go gasping,
awesome.
Oh my god.
Wow.
So I was actually working in another, like doing chores in part of the house, and he was like, "Hey, can you come in here and help me with the TV?" So I came in, and of course, Super Mario World on the title screen. That's what was on the TV, and I just was like, "Oh my god,
That is so cool.
So
what a dad move! That's awesome,
Right? Man.
That is cool.
Now you have to do that just so like your kid doesn't lose it when his console has to install like a 300 gigabyte patch or something.
Yeah.
Guilty.
I was gonna say, Anthony, do you have any experience with this?
Well, this Christmas when I got the boys like the Xbox and the PlayStation, I opened these things weeks in advance just to update everything and download games so that when they took it out, they were ready to go. So this is the world we live in now. Yeah, this is the world we live in.
That's the modern day equivalent of like being up at like midnight on Christmas Eve,
Building a
putting
bike.
together the like bicycle.
Yep.
There's something quite sadistic in me that would make me chuckle inside to go, "Here's a new console."
No, I'm gonna chuckle when they have kids and they have to do this. And I'm just going to sit back eating popcorn like, yeah, Dick. You remember what I did there? You didn't appreciate that shit, right?
Oh, my God. But, Geoff, let me ask you, what are some of your memories with Super Mario World? And specifically, like, if you had a chance to play some of the older games, what was it like moving to Mario in 16-bit?
I had to. I spent a lot of yesterday at work thinking about this. Like, what were my first memories of this game? Because I knew this was going to come up, and it is like, yeah, it came out in 90. It came out in 92 in the UK.
Yep. I
got my SNES at Christmas of 94. So, like Kelly, had to wait a couple of years. Had to wait for it to maybe not be at full price, so that parents were happy with it. But. So I was thinking, okay, so where did I play it first? Because my first game was Street Fighter 2 Turbo. But I'd already played a Super Nintendo at my cousin's place. So I'm thinking I must have played Super Mario World there, but that was we all had it. We all had a relative who had everything.
Yes.
And he was the one who had Mario Bros. And Mario Bros. 2. He didn't have Mario Bros. 3. But the thing that I remember was just I just had ownership of this cart. Everybody just seemed to have it, even though I didn't get the console bundle. I just seemed to have this game. And the thing that for me that was really difficult was stepping back into that 8-bit world after this. So I was really, really happy that they brought out obviously the All-Star game.
Yeah,
which to me is like the definitive version of all those 3 games.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Or 4 games, sorry.
Yeah.
So like, I'm really glad that they did that. So I never felt like I never experienced that kind of big jump, because I went from a Sega Master System with Sonic up to a Super Nintendo. So I didn't feel like, oh man, Mario was this 8-bit, because it was kind of like you were saying earlier, like my experience of Mario was always the first couple of levels, and then that was it.
Yeah.
I didn't have an NES, so I didn't get to World 4 and just find it impossible. I didn't have, Doki Doki and all of that. So it's kind of it's one of these eternally lost memories of like how. All I remember is I just remember loving it. I just remember completing it and just being able to just turn it on and blitz through the first 3 worlds in a matter of 10, 15 minutes, because you just get everything down. You know where all the keys are. You know where all the pipes are. You know everything, because you just religiously play this game.
Yeah. It's more of I kind of get what you're saying, where it's like it's not a solid memory, it's more of a feeling. Like it's more of I remember how I felt when I was playing this, which makes a lot of sense. And Anthony, I want to ask you, sort of building upon that, like what was your first memories with it? And since I know you did play the original Mario Brothers, or some of them, before you played this, like when you played this, what did you like? What was the standard you thought was being set here as far as the Super Nintendo went? Like, did you see Super Mario World and you're like,
okay, so
next level shit?
So this is funny. So when this is prime console wars right here, right?
Yep.
I already had my Sega Genesis. I too was parental dependent on anything and expenses, right? So I didn't get a Super Nintendo day one. I didn't get it for years later when I was able to buy it on clearance on my own, right?
Yeah.
But I saw Super Mario World come out, and I'm like, whatever, that ain't nothing. Have you Sonic the Hedgehog? Now this is the future, man. This
Way
game,
past cool, baby.
yeah. This Mario thing's too slow, man. Blast processing, fuck that shit. Right? And then and I remember the day it came out specifically because there was this. I was just doing my strolling around my neighborhood, you know, like I would as a 13-year-old apparently, and this kid walked by me, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Aunt." Just like in a dick move though, right? He's like, "Oh, hey, Aunt." He's walking around with the manual to Super Mario World. He goes, "Oh, look, I just picked it up," and he's just walking reading it. And I'm like, "Yo, you're just a different kind of asshole. Like, what is this?"
I've honestly never heard of a more baller move in my life.
Yo, I mean, looking back now, it's like respect, man. Respect.
He didn't even have the cartridge. He was just walking around with the literature. He was like,
it was funny because he clearly had just picked it up with his parents, and he was just waiting. They were doing errands, and he's just sitting there reading the manual, which I get that. I get that back then, right? I was just 13 and I wasn't trying to do that in public, but all right. You're a different kind of guy, right? So it took me a while to actually play this game, like for myself. I would see it. One of my best friends, he had a Super Nintendo, so I would, get casually like check it out, whatever. And it was as I tried to fight it, but I couldn't help it. Like, this is Mario, right? Like, I just had to play. When I first played it, though, I was like, what is this? There's too many buttons on this controller. What's happening right now? I was so happy in my 2-button world, man. Like, the spin jump, I felt like there was a learning curve for me, like, to figure out, like, that 6 buttons, who does this? Who comes up with a controller with 6 buttons, you know?
Yeah, we didn't even go 2 to 4. It went 2 to 6.
Yeah. Yes. I was like, this is blasphemy, you know?
Yeah.
I just adjusted my life to 3 buttons on the Genesis, and now you're gonna double that? Like, Nintendo's out of their minds. They're crazy. They're stupid with this controller. Right?
Meanwhile, like, toddlers now know how to use like the PlayStation 4 controller with 17 buttons on it.
Ease.
Yes.
But like back then, man, if you compared it to like how things are now, Nintendo's like basically Sony. They're the PlayStation. They'll come out with their stuff whenever. It might be like delayed, but people are just going to go and buy it because that's what they know. You know, they just know the name recognition. So that's how it was back then. I didn't really play the game myself, though, till years later when I got my own console. And even then, the most experience I had playing this game was on my Game Boy Advance. Yeah, that's when I really got to play it because I was commuting to work every day. So I was just had my Game Boy Advance on the train, and I couldn't put this game down. And it's and at this point you're talking what 2000
2003 around
so you got all the consoles out now, right? You got Sony in full swing. We didn't have Xbox yet, but we had the Dreamcast. You know, you still got like this momentum right now.
Yeah.
And here I am, totally enthralled by the 16-bit game on the smallest possible screen I could play this on, and I don't even remember the screen not having the right resolution or anything or light. I just remember not being able
to trying to hit the light just right.
I don't even remember that. I just remember playing this game, and that's when I really appreciated it. That's when I really understood like what an evolution that was from Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah.
Like Super Mario Brothers 3 to me was the epitome of platformers on the NES, you know, on that. And I didn't think that it could get better, but it did. And here it is, 10 years later I'm playing this game, and it's better than any game I'm playing currently at that time. You know, I'm like, I can't put this game down. But to Jeff's point, that All-Star stuff, man, that was the first time they came up with a remastered collection of anything as far as I knew. And it was incredible. Like, they really went back and 16-bitted every Mario game.
That's the verb right there.
Oh, it's 16-bitted. Write it down. And it was just I couldn't believe they did that. I thought that was that's a baller move. Like, to just go back and redo it, and to do it back then so early and before we even knew what remasters were, in a full collection where you could just have every Mario game ever made updated to 16 bits. Yep. It was just amazing.
Even Lost Levels, which they added.
It was just a whole new thing. It was so good, man. And that's when I really, like, you know, because I was a kid, so I was always like, yeah, you know, Sega, yay, right? But this is when I was just like, man, there's never going to be another period of gaming like this. And really, to me, I mean, this is where we go back. This is where we go back
Not like
to.
that. You'll never replicate the enthusiasm of youth like that.
Even as an adult, a semi-adult in his early 20s, like taking the train, here I am, still connecting to that point in my life. Yeah. You know, when these games were just, this was life right here. This was it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, for me, let's see. It came out in August of '91, so I wasn't a zygote. I was a fully formed baby waiting to hatch in about 4 months.
You were the original Yoshi egg. There you were.
So I unfortunately didn't get to play it as launch. My mom wasn't that cool that she would give me this to like teeth on or something. But I did play, I think I remember playing it when I was like around 5 is when I remember playing it. So that must have been like 96-ish, 97-ish. And this was it. Like I remember getting a Super Nintendo and it was this and it was Aladdin. And those were the only 2 games. And so I was like, I'm going to have to play these a lot. And I did. I played them so much with my cousins whenever we were around. A lot of 2-player Mario, a lot of I ended up being Luigi, even though it was my console. Like, I was the youngest, so I was like, fuck you guys, like, this is my shit, like, give me Mario, even though they were just palette swaps. I think that's why I ended up liking Luigi over time more than Mario, because of this, because I was like, I played Luigi so much, he's just cooler, I guess. I have to lie to myself to make myself feel better. But I loved it so much, and it was really, like, the colors more than anything. Like, it was such a colorful, vibrant game. Like, I remember those colors more than I remember any single aspect of it. I remember the cartridge, like the box art on it. Gorgeous. I loved it. It's so simple, but it was like everything I wanted as a kid. It's like, Mario is wearing a cape. Why is he wearing a cape? I don't know. That's cool. I want to find out why. He's riding a dinosaur. Holy shit, there's a dinosaur in this game. Like, I love dinosaurs. You know, what else? The only thing that would have made it better is if it was in space or something. Because it was dinosaurs, sharks, and space. Those were the 3 things that I was like, these are the best things in the world. And dinosaurs was like number 1. So the fact that it was set in Dinosaur Land, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I love everything about this. Never really like got very far in it. I think I made it to like maybe World 3 or 4 as a kid. I was just not.
That's good effort for a 5-year-old.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
And I played it throughout my life, like throughout my childhood. I would always go back to it. Eventually I ended up getting All-Stars, but it was regular All-Stars. It wasn't the even rarer All-Stars plus Super Mario World, which like, that's a package right there. And yeah, no, it's just like it seemed to be everywhere. It really did at the time. I felt like everywhere I went, I was seeing this game. Even when I must have been like 8 or 9. My mom sent me to the summer camp, and it was at a military school. But in the summer, they would empty out the classrooms and set them up for different like activities and whatnot. And there was a room on the first floor, I remember, because I poked my head in, and it was just like 4 or 5 CRTs with like Super Nintendos and Sega Genesis hooked up, and it was Super Mario World, and it was Turtles in Time. Yes. That was the first time I ever played Turtles in Time, and I loved playing Super Mario World. So I have like these very distinct like moments in time that are tied to Super Mario World for some reason. Even when I got older, I remember going to a convention when I moved to Virginia, and they had the Super Nintendo arcade machine. I don't know if you guys have ever played this. I don't remember what it's called. It was like a Play Choice 10, but for Super Nintendo games. And Super Mario World was like a game on there. And I was like, oh fuck, yeah, I gotta play Super Mario World. Like, I can't not play the first level of Super Mario World. I remember, I remember as a kid, I think it's the first or the second level where you start moving from left to right, and then all of a sudden a giant bullet bill takes up like half of the screen. I was like, oh shit! It took me like a couple of weeks before I figured out, oh, you gotta go in the little divot and like duck down and it'll miss you. I was just getting hit by this bullet bill constantly. But like stuff like that, I was like, what is happening? Like running up slopes and jumping and getting Yoshi coins, like, I just have so many. Oh, the football guys that would run at you. Like, the guys that would throw baseballs at you. I was like, there's so many like early gaming memories, like just like links in neurons that are just like Super Mario World. This is Super Mario World. Like half of my brain function just is tied to this game. That's why I'm not able to like fully ascend into being a genius, because I played Super Mario World too early. So this was a formative game for me. It was, I think, the first like video game I owned, or at least that I felt I had ownership over. And it came out the year of my birth, so definitely the best year ever. So obviously it's got to be the best game ever. But no, it's I sort of get what all of you guys are talking about, and it really seems like, especially I like when we have like enough people like this where it's like very distinct ages, backgrounds, like types of things. It's the best exemplar of like video games transcend like so many borders to just connect people like that, because other than this we have like no real connection. Our lives are very different, and yet we all sit down and we're like, oh yeah, Super Mario World, like I remember this and that, and we're like, oh shit, like I had the same experience. So it's just, you know, games like this are very rare, I would say. And obviously for us, like this is a formative time for me. Literally, like physically I was forming, but for you guys, like in your childhoods at different stages, like formative of the video game players you'd become later on. And, you know, so I think that's going to be a lot of this discussion.
Yeah, I mean, not to, just on the point you made about, like, I remember being, I guess, Super Nintendo had come out, so it must have been, like, maybe it was the next summer. And I went to Six Flags, and they had this whole, I mean, they were advertising the Super Nintendo like crazy with Mario. I remember the commercials and everything, but they had like this whole setup in Six Flags, and basically it was just a bunch of screens with a bunch of controllers, and it was like every Super Nintendo game that was out. Everything.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. And when you mentioned something about, you mentioned like Turtles in Time. And Mario, like these are, you know, obviously these are two of the games they had. Their Contra. These are a lot of the games that they had like on display. And I remember thinking, oh man, this is going to be a problem for me. I'm going to cheat on Sega. This is bad. I can't tell them. I can't tell Sega, but I'm going to do it. And, you know, bad. But yeah, it was like you just reminded me about your experience seeing all those, you know, those screens. I'm like, that was it, man.
Yeah. Something about the glow and the warmth of a CRT screen that's probably irradiating some like material that I should not be getting that close to. Just doesn't compare to the flat screens of today.
Oh no. It's
the hum when you put your ear next to it is like
the static.
But yeah.
Static, yeah, that's what I was just thinking of.
But before we truly go into it, we're gonna have to pump the brakes, take a little break here, and then when we come back, we're actually gonna like really dive into the game, and I'm very excited about this. So we'll see you guys on the other side of that break. All right, everybody, and we are back talking about Super Mario World. Here we go. We had to get a little pause, let it breathe a little bit, because
let it marinate.
We were all overloading on nostalgia for 2 seconds.
Yeah, I think we could have done this in one shot. Huh? We didn't need to take. We could have done it without a break if we weren't careful.
We could have, but then Paul would have not appreciated that.
He doesn't like Mario anyway, so don't worry about it.
That's right. We can slander him all we want now. He's not here to defend himself. Furiously typing on the Twitch chat. So, Super Mario World. I do want to talk about this because I don't know if you guys have the same experience as me, but when I played Super Mario World for years, I was like, I don't know what the story of this game is. Like, I know because it's Mario, so I know what the story is, but I don't know what the story is. Like, I don't know any of the details of the story. So I actually read it, and apparently this is supposed to be like a sort of a directish sequel to Super Mario Brothers 3. It's like after the events of Super Mario Brothers 3, Mario and Luigi decided to take a vacation to Dinosaur Land. And I'm like, Luigi, what did you do? That you're like, oh, you know what, we need a vacation. I'm like, I'm dying over here.
Poor Luigi. Poor Luigi.
Yeah.
But they go to Dinosaur Land, and I mean, shockingly, Peach ends up getting kidnapped by Bowser. This was like this was a swerve back in 91. I was like, oh, damn.
She's so extra.
And then, so as they go searching for her, they discover Yoshi. They discover a Yoshi egg and it hatches a Yoshi. And Yoshi tells them that his dinosaur friends have been imprisoned by the evil Koopalings in other eggs. And this sort of made me very concerned. I was like, so they've gotten your friends who are not in eggs and then put them in eggs and sort of sealed them in there. Now that raises several questions for me that I know we're not going to answer here. But I was like, because my whole time I was like, oh, I make the Yoshis hatch. Like they're being born and then I feed them the stuff and I make them big. No, now it's these Yoshis have been like super glued into these eggs. They're starving. That's why they're so small, because they've been emaciated from being trapped inside this egg. And I have to like save them. I have to give them like IV fluids so they don't die.
It sounds like somebody just got the translation slightly wrong, doesn't it? It just is like, no, I think dinosaurs did come from eggs, didn't they? I don't think we don't need a stretch of imagination for that one, I don't think. But there we go. Here we are with our
But I remember
egg stick glue thing.
Yeah, because in the first level, there's like a little speaker box that you would hit, and it would like. And for me, it was like I was like, "Oh, what is this?" Because it was like a block that I'd never seen before, so I thought something cool was gonna happen. And then I hit it, and like a paragraph of words just pops out, and I could not have hit the A button fast enough.
Yeah,
like that must be record speed for me to. Nope, don't care.
I'm out.
Moving on.
No one has time for this. No.
So I'm sure there's like Mario World lore that I don't know that we're not going to get into today. But I thought it was important that we at least know the basic structure. But did any of you, like Kelly, did you know any of this story? Like, did you stop and read? Like, were you meticulous about sort of following along at all?
Well, it's funny because this was in the outline, and I was like, I kind of remember this. So I went in, I grabbed the Mario manual.
Yeah.
Which I actually have in my hand right now. But yeah, the story is on the first page of the manual.
Well, okay.
So, yeah. So
reading
I could
is fundamental, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Well, when I was young, of course, if my sister or anything was playing, I had to have something to do, and I didn't want to watch her play, so I'd have the manual in hand just reading through it. So that's how I knew the story, is because of that manual that I probably read 200 times while waiting for my sister to die so I could have my turn.
Yeah, no. My reading of the story was Mario's riding dinosaurs and beating them to get them to eat Koopas, and then occasionally he'll like blow up a castle with everyone inside of it.
Seemed fair to me. I didn't know that till I read the outline either. I was just like, wait, what? But I know now you know who knew. That damn kid that was walking around with that manual back in 91. He knew exactly what the story is, so exactly. He gets the last laugh. Well played, Timothy. Yeah, I remember his name. Well played.
But, you know, as far as gameplay goes, like Super Mario World, if you've never played it, God, I don't know why you'd listen this far into this podcast if you hadn't. It's a side-scrolling platformer, just like the original Super Mario Brothers trilogy. However, it did add like several new elements to make it stand apart, and obviously, like, you know, it's a brand new system. We got to give people something, right? You can't just not do it. And to be fair, I feel like even amongst the like Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, there's always new stuff in all those games. You know, none of them really feel like the other ones. I think a Super Mario World 2 really helps in that respect. It's like Mario 1, whoa, Mario 3. All right. But, you know, some of the things they added, obviously, you know, Yoshi. We're going to talk about Yoshi a lot. This is his, like, intro game. But not just that. New power-up. My favorite power-up. The Cape Feather. I don't know what it was about the Cape Feather. I just thought it was so cool. Like, the first time I got the Cape Feather, I was like, I've arrived. this is it. Mario will never be cooler in this moment than with the cape feather. And I was wrong because I hadn't played Super Mario Bros. 3, so I didn't know about the frog suit, and the frog suit is like undeniably the coolest. But cape feather is right up there. Geoff, what did you think of the cape feather? Did you have any opinions on it? Or even like the redesigns for the existing power-ups, because they all look slightly different for 16-bit.
Yeah, I loved when you were talking about the actual sprite design of the power ups, especially when they're up in your secondary box. It's great seeing those. I can't decide which I prefer, whether it's Super Mario Bros. 3 or Mario Bros. 3 even, or with the range of power ups.
Yeah.
Or Mario World with the depth that the less power ups give.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the Tanuki suit. I think you can't not love that suit. And there is just something I can just remember more vividly than anything Super Mario World when I was a kid. I can remember being in our local video game store and for the first time seeing Mario fly.
Oh yeah,
that was like that blew my mind to see the Nintendo game do that.
Yeah.
Whereas with Mario World, the cape isn't as iconic in my memories. But when I play Mario World today, it's such a versatile, strong, and it's almost like an invincibility power up sometimes, because you can just blast through whole levels if they don't have a ceiling. So you can kind of do that. Yeah, I just felt that the power-ups themselves just allowed you, and I guess Anthony mentioned it earlier, the spin jump, just these little additions really helped you feel like you were playing the next level of Mario platformers.
Yeah.
Even though it gave you less, they actually kind of gave you more. It was a really interesting, like when you have the flower power, and then you do the spin and the balls shoot out in different directions, both sides. It's stuff like that which you never were getting in 8-bit. So it did feel really special when you were playing it. But like I said, I can't beat the Tanuki and the frog suit. I think they're just brilliant.
Yeah.
Best Fire Flower design, in my opinion. They never brought it back. It's like more tulip shaped. It has like little eyes on it. True. I thought it was cooler than the original Fire Flower. I'm sorry. I thought it was a cooler design. And even, I didn't even remember. I forgot about the spin move with the double fire flower shots. Like, there's so many little things they do in this game that you sort of, I think I discovered that stuff accidentally, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think I was ever good enough. But even, like, being able to carry stuff, being able to kick stuff that you're holding up, like, stuff like that, the spin jump to let you jump on enemies that you wouldn't normally be able to jump on, like, all that stuff just made it like a really like you said, Geoff, just a deeper game. Like, it was they limited your power up selection, but they made it so much deeper, because I felt like every power up, maybe aside from the mushroom, had like some sort of secondary use that you didn't get in previous Mario games.
One thing I really enjoyed about the cape as well is how it was introduced in the game. So that first time you actually see that cape is when there's a Koopa flying in and he has a cape, and when you kill him, you get the ability. Yeah. So I just thought that was amazing to have that instead of just pop, here it comes out of a box. Yeah. It actually shows you what it's doing.
What it's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's always the genius of Mario games, these ones, is how they pull you in and teach you the world. And every single Mario game has it. It always feels so simple. Like you say, Kelly, here's an enemy doing the thing that if you can now see it, you can imagine it for yourself, right? Yep. So why not try? It's a really, they are geniuses when it comes to things like this.
Yeah. No, it's a show not tell, right? It sort of demonstrates it for you instead of having the giant block of text, but they were using those for the
no
story.
No kid's gonna read.
So, yeah, exactly. So there was only so many giant blocks of text I could put in the game. The other thing, and Geoff mentioned this, and I think this is very important to actually talk about a little bit, is the ability to store a power-up. Because I felt like, I think Super Mario Bros. 3 did something, I think, kind of similar to this, right?
They had the inventory, but it was only between levels.
Inventory.
So like between
exactly.
stages. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whereas the storing a power-up, you can basically activate at any time.
Yeah.
And so when I discovered that you could release the power up, because basically the way it's sort of presented is if you already have a power up, you pick up a second power up, it'll show up in this little box on the top of your screen, and then if Mario gets hit, it'll automatically drop down to give you another power up. But there is a button you can press. I can't remember the button, so if anybody knows
select,
the button,
was it the select button? I think. Am I getting
right.
cross-platformed here? I don't know.
That sounds right, because that sounds like a button you wouldn't accidentally hit when you didn't mean to. You could release it, and then you could grab that power-up, and I believe it would just switch the power-up, so your power-up you already had would go into the box. So it's not like you're sacrificing the power-up you already have. And I just thought that was really cool way to sort of think about levels differently. It's like you come up to a stage and you're like, oh, I already have the cape, but I also have the fire flower. I think the fire flower would be better for this area. And then when I get past that, maybe I can switch back to the cape. And maybe if I need something different, I can pick it up along the way. So I thought that was a really cool way of sort of diversifying the way people thought of how to beat levels and how to get through levels. Anthony, was this something like, did you pick this up intuitively? Like when because I remember when I was playing it, I was like, oh, it's a box, and like if I get hit, it comes down. But like the strategery of like, oh, I'm going to release this power up and like switch it and then, do my thing. Yeah, like I did not get that at all.
Because I missed when I was playing Super Mario World, I missed all those suits from Mario 3. I was just like, oh man, this is it? But like you get that cape and you're like one hit kills on people, being able to, once you figured that out. But I didn't really think about that strategy until much later. Yeah. Meaning today. No, but I really loved that. Yeah, I really loved that I didn't have to get rid of a power up like you mentioned. I love that I can get the fireball. Like if I had, that sucked when you were playing Mario, like Mario 3. You pick up a fireball, you lose your suit, Yeah. And so I loved that this added that level to it where you can keep an item there and just boom, I need it right now, give me. So
I did not need to go through my Castlevania trauma where I had the axe and then I'd pick up the fucking holy water or some bullshit and be like, God damn it.
No, yeah.
Now I have to survive until I can find something better than this.
Yeah.
Which just roughly translates into I suck at using the holy water, so like I need something better than that. I need the baby power up for babies. I need the boomerang.
Yeah, but it was like Geoff said, man, it was like there was so much depth added to just these small amount of power ups, like that's where those 6 buttons came in handy, man. That's where it came in handy.
Ghosts and Goblins did that to me too. It's like, I have the dagger. I want the dagger. Oh no, you're gonna get the lance, or you're gonna get the stupid fireball or something. I don't know. Like a lot of those games just were like, no, if you fuck up, if you're not good enough to avoid the things that help you, then you don't deserve to play this game. But Mario was nice to me.
Yeah, it never stopped me from picking up the wrong power up by mistake and find that I've got a mushroom up top instead of a fire.
True.
God damn it.
That's fair.
Still made
that
mistakes.
Is fair. But it's better than nothing. At least when I got hit, I was like, all right, I guess I'll use the mushroom at least.
Yeah, right. But I do think, I'm not too sure what the group thinks, but I remember at the time thinking this makes this quite easy in comparison to Mario. The NES Mario's, like you basically, you kind of get hit. Okay, I can use my mushroom. It kind of gives you maybe a third hit within each level.
Yeah,
it did. In a way, it kind of nerfed the main game. If you were, I don't know if you others felt that way.
Well, I'll tell you from my perspective. This was the one I played first, so I'm glad you said that, because when I went back to the older one, I was like, this is fucking hard, dude. Like, I can't play this game. But I was like, is it just because these are harder, or is it because I played Super Mario World first, so I'm used to that game. I'm used to all its newfangled doodads. And so now I go back here where I don't have all that, and I'm just not as good. But Kelly, what do you think? Did you feel the same way? Like, was it harder to go back to like the older Marios after playing Super Mario World?
Not really for me. I did get through the entire game, and those last few levels, you needed those power-ups, it seemed like, because they were just that tough. And for me, whenever I think of Super Mario 3, I always think of the P-Wing.
Yeah.
And how that nerfed the entire experience. Because I can remember that there was the one airship level in level 8 that I just could not beat until someone was like, why don't you just use the P-Wing? And I was like, well, that makes sense. And then I beat the game like 2 hours later just because of that. So there's always that precedence of making it easy, once again, making it available to everyone.
Yeah.
So those extra power-ups I was fine with just to get through the game, especially those later levels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think one thing that Super Mario Bros. Does well that I think the other games did as well is if you're good enough and you know enough about the game, you can do like, you know, in Mario 3 and in original Super Mario Bros., I think it was a flute that would help you like get around and skip worlds and stuff.
Mario 3.
In Mario World, it's like if you know the secret exits and you can get to Star Road and skip around, you could get, you know, you could beat this game in nothing.
Yeah,
If you're
exactly.
good enough.
What is it? I think I read you can beat the game by only finding 11 exits.
Yeah.
It's like that's the fastest route or something.
Out of 96 exits.
No, but these are really good points because with the brand new remake or whatever you want to call it, re-release of 3D World.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's like here's the cat costume, the way to completely beat the game in the easiest way possible. And I remember at the time thinking, this is too easy now. Like I can climb up walls like this. There's no challenge anymore. But actually, maybe that's what they've always done. They've always given you that little bit of saving grace to be able to enjoy it for everybody. So maybe that's a good point. I need to look at it a bit differently.
Yeah. Plus, it's adorable. You need to.
I know it is.
That was worth it. Little Mario in his little cat suit. Come on. I need them to make like a dog suit though, because I'm not a huge cat person, so I need like a Shiba Inu Mario suit.
Have to go up against a bigger Kita or something like that. proper guard dog. Oh Jesus!
And then obviously the other thing is Yoshi's.
Yep.
Yoshi's a big part of this game. Takes place in Yoshi's land, dinosaur land. So Yoshi's play a real integral part, and Yoshi is like a power up unto himself. He gives you an extra hit, obviously. He's also able to eat a lot of enemies. Eating Koopa shells lets him do different things depending on the color of the Koopa shell. So if it's red, he spits out 3 fireballs when he shoots it out of his mouth. If it's blue, he can fly. Did not know that. Like, as a child, would have helped me a lot. If it's yellow, he emits dust clouds that kill nearby enemies. I do not remember this at all. I don't think I'd ever seen this.
Not sure
power.
about
Yeah,
that one either.
It's when you land, right? He lands and it's like a stomp, and it's puff, isn't it? Or am I dreaming?
You're probably right. I just honestly, I never because I never realized that like when he shot out the fireballs with the red one, I was like, oh, okay, he must do this with all of them.
Right.
And then I picked up a green one. He just shot out the shell, and I'm like, oh, so maybe the fireball is the only cool one. Like, because I'm an idiot.
No.
And then there's a flashing shell, which I think I've seen. Like, there's an early level where you can get it. But I didn't know what it did, so I just spit it out. And the flashing one gives you all 3 abilities at the same time. And then obviously there's a green shell, and that does nothing. I mean, not nothing. It spits out a shell that'll kill enemies, but it doesn't do anything like cool. And the other thing about it is that I realized as a child and was very angry about is that sometimes if you eat a shell, Yoshi will hold it in its mouth, and if you don't hurry up and get rid of that shell or do something with it, he'll just swallow it. He'll just swallow it and do nothing with it. And I was like, what the hell, Yoshi? Like, don't do that. And then I bonked him on the head so his tongue would pop out. And then obviously not only do the colored shells affect Yoshis, but there's also different colored Yoshis. Yoshi, the green Yoshi's the default one. He's like the one you get the most often. But eventually, if you can find like the specific areas where they're found, you can find blue Yoshi eggs, yellow Yoshi eggs, red Yoshi eggs. And then basically what you do is once the egg hatches, it's like a little tiny baby Yoshi, a little cute, tiny Yoshi. And then you pick him up, and then you have to feed him enemies. Or I think if you feed him a star, it just automatically makes him a rideable big Yoshi, and then you can ride them. And I don't remember, Kelly, and maybe you can jog my memory of this. Was there an innate difference between the different colored Yoshis? I couldn't find anything about it. Or was it just the shells that gave them the specific powers?
I honestly don't remember.
Okay.
I just remember I always wanted the blue one for some reason, because I wanted the blue one.
And I gave you the blue one. That was Psychic Connection.
There we go. See?
Wow, that's quite spooky, actually.
So now I have to ask, because I always have like one question in every outline that I'm like, this is the most important question. And that is, what is your favorite colored Yoshi? And I'm going to start with you, Anthony.
Oh, I'm basic, man. I just go with what's on the cover. So green.
You're a green Yoshi
I'm
guy?
a green Yoshi guy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. What about you, Geoff? What's your Yoshi pick?
Usually is the green Yoshi. I can't help but just feel that the other ones are aberrations and should be expelled. No, I can't be that cruel. Yeah, there's no ginger Yoshi. There's no orange Yoshi, is there? So that's me. I'm just going to go OG. Go green.
Go
Turtle
green.
color. Why not?
And Kelly, I think you spoiled it
yes,
for yourself,
blue.
but it's blue.
Yes.
All right. And I'm a red Yoshi man. I think red Yoshi's got a little attitude.
It's got some spice.
It just comes through the screen,
That's
right?
right.
That red Yoshi
he
power.
seems a little angrier than the other Yoshis, probably because he's seen Mario like drop them in pits to make a specific jump or something.
Oh yeah.
So he seems very upset about that.
You're just putting the turtle's attitude on top of the Yoshi.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got to be the edgelord.
He's the
red
party
Yoshi.
dude. Yeah. And so, just in general, to close out the gameplay aspect of it, and Geoff, I want to reach out to you here. Mm-hmm. What did you think of these new mechanics that we've discussed, and these power-ups and the Yoshis and all that stuff? Was it something that you felt like elevated the game? Was it more like adding like layers on something that was already, like they had a formula and this was just adding unnecessary frills?
Good question. The big thing about Mario World for me is that Nintendo created the perfect balance of platforming and character animation and abilities on their first attempt on the console. And it made me look at every other platformer and make me wish I was playing Mario, because it's such an amazing balance what they were able to achieve, and how the world was built in a way that it always made you feel like if you came across an obstacle or you came across a secret you could see maybe top of the screen, you always felt like you had it in your ability to get to everything that they designed for you. Nothing felt like an unfair, badly built, or like they put blocks in a certain place that make it's a case of luck rather than skill that you're going to achieve getting to a specific point. So yeah, I've always felt that the tight gameplay, it just continued on from Mario Bros. 3. It was just a great continuation. They added a couple of extra bells and whistles, but it was still, they just knew exactly what they were doing with the platforming. So yeah, I'm like this game is perfection when it comes to platformers.
Fair enough. Kelly, what about you? How did you feel about a lot of these gameplay additions and sort of mechanical upgrades?
Oh, I loved all of them. Because I had played Super Mario 3, so this just seemed like the next step. It was the next evolution in Mario, just having all the side areas, side exits, and everything else, and having all these there were power-ups, but there weren't too many of them, so I could instantly knew how to work all of them. I love that. So it just felt like the next step for Mario's for me.
That's awesome. And Anthony, let's wrap up with you. How did you feel about it?
Yeah,
having come this far in your Mario journey.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody said, like it basically just was the evolution from Super Mario Brothers 3. But this world map was just like something so freaking amazing. Like just being able to just go back and like look through stuff, and although I was initially disappointed that they didn't have as many power-ups, because I thought, wait, more is better, right? Like this is it. Once I settled back down, it was more of a a game of patience, because you'd see so many things, especially the switch color blocks. You know, the switches. You'd see those things, and you immediately think, "Why? This is now. I need to access this now. What's happening?" But as long as you were patient and you played through the game and you hit every little spot, you know, you could always go back and access these other parts of the level. But it was just a game that I just couldn't put down. I couldn't put it down. I mean, I thought I couldn't put Super Mario Brothers 3 down, but this was just I really couldn't put this down because it added it just added that extra exploration detail to it, and man, it was just so good, man. And mode 7, baby.
Mode 7.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's why Miyamoto thought it was incomplete. He was designing the 16-bit frog suit, and they were like,
"No,
you know, it's got to ship next week. We don't have time for this."
I mean, those stages where you're like climbing on the fence. And you flip around, like, that blew my mind. When I first saw that, I was like, whoa, you can see his belly, you know?
I can see his face. He's not in profile anymore.
Yes.
Oh my god. I agree with you guys. I think it's all killer, no filler as far as Super Mario World is concerned. There's not really anything that I felt was superfluous. And I think in part it was because they took some stuff away as well. Yeah. They took some of the power-ups away. They, you know, so because if it had been all that plus the stuff, it might have gotten a little too complicated, but they sort of streamlined it in a very effective way. And the last thing I want to talk about in this section, and Anthony alluded to it, I'm very glad he did that, is, and this is just a me thing, is this map.
Oh, yeah.
Because, goddamn. Yeah. Everybody always talks about the Link to the Past overworld map, but forget you guys. Get out of here. It's all about Dinosaur Land map for me. That's the number one Super Nintendo overworld map. Donut Plains, you know, all the good stuff, all the names of all the places, and just like all those little details, like the boo houses, the little forest, like I think there's like a shipwreck or something. There's like something off the coast that you can go to. Man. It's so cool. It looks so cool, very vibrant, like very colorful. When you do things, like things change in the map. Like I remember when you finish the first world, I think some of the mountains get higher, and it like does all these cool effects. I was like, oh crap! Like I'm actually having an impact on this world. Like somebody that starts the game isn't looking at the same map that I'm looking in. You know, when you beat the castles, like you just see the rubble of the like where the castle or the fort used to be. And then all the secret exits, you know, all the fact that you could go into a level and come out one way and then go back and play that same level but come out a different way and find a new level or a shortcut to another level. Right. You know, it honestly felt when I was playing that game as a kid, I was like, there's an infinite amount of levels. They've programmed an infinite amount of levels into this thing.
Infinite, yes.
Not only am I able to just go through the level, but there's secrets. And now I'm paranoid because now I'm like, what am I missing? How do I know when I've seen everything? Yeah. You know? And then you get to Star Road, and it's like, holy fucking shit. Like, my brain can't handle all this, like, sensory input that's happening. And then there's the special world when you beat Star Road that I've never seen myself. And it's just, it goes on and on forever. I was convinced that it would never end. Yeah. So it is like it's almost like the overworld map is a gameplay mechanic unto itself, or at least it felt that way to me. Like it was a living sort of thing. And especially after playing Super Mario Bros. 3, which had a cool overworld map, but very barren in comparison. It's very like, I can see where everything is. I move in like straight lines. It's all very like spaced out in front of me, and there's like trees here and there, and there's, you know, Hammer Bros moving around. And then also comparing it to like the overworld maps of like Super Mario Worlds, where it's like there's shit everywhere, you can run around wherever you want, there's no set path. I'm like, that's way too much. This is like the perfect balance, right?
We all like some structure, don't we?
Yeah, I do. Yes. I want to, like, this is what I want. I don't want to feel like I'm going to get lost somewhere. This is the epitome for me.
You know, Arnie,
such a good job of that.
We did an episode recently on Rare, and I remember we were talking about Donkey Kong Country, and when I think of my favorite platformers, I put these two games next to each other, honestly. And the thing that I always felt, and I remember bringing this up in that episode of where I believe Donkey Kong Country has got one up in a tiny aspect over Super Mario World, is on the connection, because you're talking about the world map. I think Donkey Kong Country was amazing at connecting the map world with the stage that you then enter and how that felt connected. But you're absolutely right. The dynamic nature of the Super Mario World map and the fact that it felt limitless is something that is, at the time it blew my mind as well. I think it couldn't not blow your mind, because we were all used to just seeing what we had to do next. Yeah. And having that change each time, you potentially, you were always wondering when you finish the level, what's going to happen next? What's going to open up next? And although I don't feel that the levels themselves connect, some of them do connect really well with some do, some in my mind don't. But that, as I say, that dynamic nature of the Super Mario World map puts it above everything else that they've done before or since. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's great. I'd love to get Kelly. What are your thoughts on it? Like, I know you walked in to this TV already showing this beautiful screen, but when you hit start and you went onto that map, what was that like?
Well, for me, honestly, because of the years that I was doing it, it was more about the levels.
Okay.
I was young enough where the map, like looking back at it now, wow, cool. This was a huge, awesome map. But back then I was just all about the levels. but seeing everything open up and knowing that I had no idea what was coming. So I could get through this level, and you said there's multiple exits, multiple things happening. But because that map would change, it really did seem limitless.
No, it was that's the thing. Like when you went from Super Mario Brothers 3, and there were levels where you could go, find hidden areas on the level and exit. But once you exited the level, that was it. You couldn't go back. And like you said before, but this you could find the secret stuff and then go back and get other stuff in the level. And it was just that it's exactly what used to piss me off about Mario Brothers 3, because you had to pick your path. And that was it. You couldn't go back, and you couldn't redo something. So this definitely added that to me. And I was just like, for me, when I would play the levels, I just wanted to complete every single damn stage, you know. So and this gave me the opportunity to do it. Like I could finish it, but that didn't necessarily mean you completed the stage. You always wanted to go back and find those extra items and stuff or paths. So. That's man. This game, just that world map, man. I haven't seen it done since, like in a Mario game like this. Like even Yoshi's Island. I love Yoshi's Island, amazing game. But it still kind of gave you the same map that you got from Mario Brothers 3, where it's just like here's your path. This I don't know. This is something. There was something just still to this day, man.
Yeah. There's just something nice about it. And I want to say this too. The sprite work in this game was like very lovely. There's a lot of sprites in here that are my favorite. The Boos in this game, my favorite version of Boo.
Yeah, cute.
Oh yes.
Very, very reactive, had like different emotions and stuff. And they would follow you around, and they always freaked me out because I was like,
you turn around, make them stop, and you keep going.
But even like, there's a lot of sprites that just don't show up in other games. I remember those dragon-looking guys that you jump on and they get smushed.
Oh yes,
yeah, they're weird.
I always thought that was hilarious as a kid. I would never kill them. I would just jump on them once to make them smushed and walk around like pancakes.
So you'd leave them in pain.
Yes, I would crush their spines.
You didn't put them out of their misery. You just let them wander about.
Cruel bastard.
The little Paragoombas, the little like red little ball
cool
ones. I thought those were very adorable. Even when you go in the mine levels, those little I don't even know what you call them, but they're like orange on the bottom. They have like little blue shells.
Oh yes,
yeah.
I know what
they're like only
about,
in the little mine. They're like in the underground levels, and you can't. I don't think you can kill them. You just jump on them over and over again, and eventually they pop back up. But the bullet bills, terrifying. The giant bullet bills that had like angry, like sharp tooth faces drawn on them.
Yes.
amazing, you know, and of course we'll talk about them later because I have a little something about them, but also the Koopalings, you know, the bosses or the sub bosses of every world. I just thought they had like a lot of personalities. Like the sprite work was very nice on them. And obviously your last battle with Bowser, when you have the like clown ship flying around.
Yeah.
And then when you bonk him on the head with his little Bowser robots, he goes like, oh. Like there's so many, like, I don't know, it was really a jump, right? From like the Nintendo.
Yes.
It's like, I know I've beaten this horse to death, but it's like all these little things they did with like expressions and color and design. I thought, just, man, could it get better than this? And the answer is kind of. But I think with that, we'll stop here, take another little break, come back and sort of collect our memories and wrap this one up. What do you guys say?
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll see you on the other side. Back to wrap up our Super Mario World discussion. This has been a great talk so far, so let's just bring it home. And I'm going to kick us off by saying, you know, I want to talk a little bit about the impact of the game as we normally do when we're wrapping up. You know, Super Mario World, as I said at the top of the episode, one of only 2 launch games for the Super Nintendo, which, man, you got to have stone. Honestly, to just be like, yeah, this is fine. We got the platformer and the racer. What more could you possibly want out of this?
Classic
system?
Nintendo, man. This is kind of what they do. This is one of those times where I wish I could go back in time to somebody in 1990 or 91 and be like, all right, here is the Super Nintendo launch lineup. What do you think this game is going to be most well known for? Oh, it's actually RPGs, but thank you for playing. Because no indication whatsoever. Obviously, being one of 2 games and also being like a classic pack-in title, Super Mario World sold pretty well. 20 million copies, 20 million plus. So it's the best-selling SNES game. You know, I don't think it had a lot of competition for that title, given, you know, that it was a pack-in. I mean, I feel like the Super Nintendo really is up there as far as like console with the most bundle variants. So there was a few games that got the pack-in treatment, but because it was a launch game, I feel like there was no way anything was going to come even close to it. You know, as far as reviews go, 9s and 10s all around. Every time we talk about Mario game, we're like, 9s and 10s all around, guys. I don't know what to say. Like, where's that Mario game that's like a 6? And it's obviously considered one of the greatest games of all time. Miyamoto has said that this is his favorite Mario game, which, one, I mean, obviously the man has great taste. 2, you also say this game is incomplete. So, like you said, Geoff, I wonder what he thinks of all the other Mario games. If this is the one that's like, it's the best one, but also it sucks. It's not finished. I have not reached Mario Nirvana yet, but this is the closest that I've gotten.
Yeah.
And then one thing I wanted to ask you guys about, because we've been known to sort of be a little controversial on this show about Nintendo. So, Geoff, I'm going to ask you this directly. Is this a case? And when I'm talking about the sales numbers, critical reception, the absolute love that this game gets, is this merited? Or is this sort of the fabled Mario bump or Nintendo bump that we coined and have implemented before?
I think this is one of the truly rare examples of where I feel like this game gets ignored.
Really?
I honestly do. I think it gets, when you look at the merchandising, when you look at all the stuff that all the licenses go out for, it's Mario 8-bit, Mario 8-bit, Mario 8-bit everywhere. Vans, Uniqlo, all the clothes, Mario 8-bit. It's like this is the best Mario game. This is this is now my opinion. This is the best Mario game. These are the best Mario sprites. This is the best Mario character design. And I just feel like Nintendo just pump out, like with the Game & Watch. Here's Game & Watch Mario. It's like, you've given us Mario 100 times. Yeah. Where's Mario World? Like, what are you, like, you're sitting on probably the best platformer ever made. And I just feel like they don't, like, I'm glad they don't in a way, but I just feel like they're just sitting on a amount of cash that they're just not tapping into with this game. With Mario Maker, it's great that they obviously gave you the skin for Mario World. I was worried for a time that they weren't even going to do that, because it's just like they don't care about Yoshi's Island. No. Wonder if they even care about Mario World. So, I feel that I would be so shocked if all those kids who are now adults who got the Mario bundle, if there's one kid who would say, I wish I got a different game with it instead.
Well, it's Paul, who wishes he had gotten F-Zero.
Oh.
He wished he got the F-Zero bundle, yeah, sure. So I guess this is me saying it's not overhyped.
Okay.
It's not, there's no bump here. I genuinely think if anything, it doesn't get enough praise.
Came out swinging on that one.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. You also reminded me of another favorite Super Mario World sprite I have. And for anybody who hasn't played this game, I'm about to say words that you're not going to understand. But I'm hoping that my co-host will understand. The guy who's like, it's like a stone platform that has wings, and it's like a Santa Claus looking guy that just throws hammers at you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
I just always called him Santa Claus because I was like, oh, it's like a fat guy with a beard or something. If I looked at this right now, it'd probably look nothing like that.
Yeah, he's wearing blue, so.
He's like was the original Santa wearing blue, or was it green?
It was blue.
It was blue.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was blue, if I remember correctly. So that's that's for the heads. That's for the true old heads that really played it. What about you, Kelly? Like, do you think this is a game that deserves one of the greatest games of all time that we see, on every other game, it seems like, nowadays?
Absolutely. This is my second favorite platformer ever.
Okay.
And first favorite Mario game.
Ooh,
for me, it was the peak of Mario. After that, like, the Super Nintendo era is the era I was all about Nintendo. Mm-hmm. So they could do no wrong in my eyes with all the games that they were releasing. It wasn't until the N64 that I started to be a little leery of Nintendo. But if we're talking Super Mario World, played through that game so much. It basically, when I think of the Super Nintendo era, it's the game I think of. I would always go over to my cousin's house and we would just discuss different ways to get through the levels, and that's how I got my perfect save with the 96 exits, the Star World, and everything else. It's just discussing. Oh yeah.
Oh, now you're just bragging.
Bragging. But me and my cousin would just discuss all day how to get through these levels and beat the game properly.
It's such a good time. I just love talking about these things. Like, these conversations that we used to have with people, right? Like, the best.
Yeah.
What about you, Anthony? I got a feeling that I know where you're going. But what do you think? Is this overhype? Is Mario World overrated?
No, I think it's rated perfectly, man. And also, it's funny because I didn't even think about it until Geoff said it. But man,
yeah, me too.
Right? I'm like, oh, Geoff, quite the investigation there, man. Like
the conspiracy to cover up.
Right. It's so true, man. Because you do see Mario Brothers 3. Nobody really talks about Super Mario World. We talk about it, so we assume everybody else is, but probably not the case. But I think, like I said, I was such a hater back in the day, but I've reformed, right? And when this game came out, I think it's exactly what Nintendo needed, because I think, to me, probably, pick a Mario game on the 2D level and on the 8 and 16-bit consoles.
Yeah.
And some of the never replicated platforming. It's just so perfect, so precise. Mm-hmm. Which is often overlooked when you're looking at platformers from a lot of people.
Yeah.
But with Sega dropping Sonic, and now like, oh, this is like a next level thing here. Sonic was just a beautiful looking game. Nintendo really went in and they just kind of created. They didn't even follow that path. Like they didn't just go and just, well, we're just gonna make another 2D Mario game like we did before. They just created they went a different route, and I think it's the route they needed to go, because why do what everyone else is doing? We're Nintendo. We do the things that people do that follow. People follow us. So when they created this game, and that, like I've said before, man, the map itself, the worlds, the variety, the buttons, it was just, I think this is one of those cases where there's no Nintendo bump. It didn't get enough of a bump. How about that? It just, right? I think it's just all time great, man. All time.
The Nintendo dip right here.
Yeah, it was the one time they got a dip.
No, I got $1 million idea. I think here's what I'm thinking: you do a unisex like pocket T-shirt, right? Like a little breast pocket T-shirt. You put the little football guy sprite on there, but then you customize it to whoever NFL team you want. So like make a deal with NFL, and you do boom. That's $1 million idea, Nintendo. That one's for free. Listen, if you want the other ones, you gotta hit me up.
I think that piece right there needs to get edited out of the episode when it's launched, because we need to keep that in house.
That's gonna be my new NFT. Is gonna be a sprite of the football guy from Super Mario World dressed in like the Cardinals colors or something. All right, and I mean, I'm right there with you guys. I think that this is bar none my favorite Mario game. I think, Super Mario 64 is also a contender, but Super Mario World takes it every time, just because it's hard to look at Mario 64 sometimes without feeling like my eyes are being assaulted.
Yeah. I mean, it was an event when that game came out, right?
Yeah.
And I look fondly back on that Nintendo 64 launch with that game, but that's not a game you can go back today and play and feel good about yourself. You're just, you can go back and play Super Mario World right now and be perfectly fine with life.
Yeah. And you can go and you can get mods for like Mario 64 to make it all smooth and good looking. Super Mario World doesn't need that. No. Super Mario World is exactly right there. Yep. It's ready to go.
If anything, you want to add all the CRT
right. You want to
stuff
handle
to
the scan lines and right. That's the filters you want to add to the game. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. All right. So obviously, as a game that's this popular, even though Geoff claims that Nintendo doesn't care about it, did get a couple of re-releases. We already talked about Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World in '94. It's basically identical. The one difference I found is that apparently, and now I need to go play it to find out, but apparently they changed Luigi's sprite so he could be his own strong independent man instead of just a palette swap of Mario. But other than that, the game is largely untouched. Then obviously, Anthony's preferred method of play: Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2 on the Game Boy Advance.
They really chopped the titles for that series, right? Like,
yeah.
I think wasn't because Yoshi's Island was Yoshi's Island was it was Super Mario. No, it was
Advance 3.
Advance 3?
Yes. Yeah. And then the first one was Super Mario Brothers 3 Advanced or something.
I think the first one was Super Mario Brothers 2 that they released on the Game Boy Advance.
Oh, that one's on there too.
Right, and then they went back and it was just all over.
That's right, because Super Mario Brothers 3 is Super Mario Advanced 4.
4. That's it.
Oh, come on.
Yep.
Think about that when you're doing the timeline. And that one had e-reader support and all sorts of
it had some craziness to it.
But yeah, this one.
But Arnie, you're saying that you got the Nintendo did give some love to Mario World, but this is 20 years ago. 20 years.
No, it was yesterday. What are you talking about?
That's how it feels. Yeah.
It does feel that way.
That was when I was in my prime. I'm still in my prime, Geoff. You're not going to bring me down.
Sorry, on
by reminding me of how many years it's been.
Listen, for me, if I can remember getting drunk 20 years ago and being legal, then time is flying, man. Time is flying.
This one did make a couple of changes, tone down the difficulty. So Geoff, this is baby mode for Geoff. If he thinks the original already
perfect for me.
Yep, added ability to save anytime, because before I think it would only save if you hit like a boo house or a fortress or a castle.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Or you got the switch,
then,
one of the switches.
I'm sorry?
One of the switches. If you
Oh,
got,
that's
like,
right, yes. The switch palaces would also give you the ability to save. And then link cable support for up to 4 players. Don't know how that would work.
No idea.
Never had enough friends who owned this many accessories to find out. Like if I had 3 friends and I was like, all right, so we're all gonna buy Super Mario Advance. I mean, Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2. They would be like, fuck you, you're going to lend me that game when you finish it, and that's how we're gonna keep this train rolling. We're not all gonna buy this. We've already bought Pokemon. We all have Pokemon. That's the only game we're gonna link cable together. And then it did release on the Wii and the Wii U on their respective virtual consoles. Now we're getting a little bit closer to maybe what Geoff would consider an acceptable time frame for a re-release. And then the Switch Online service had it as part of their store as a launch game, right?
Yeah.
It was their day one. And then obviously the Super Nintendo Classic Edition. I remember the rush. That was the last time I struggled to pre-order a thing. It's now in my closet, I think. So time well spent.
Sad times.
I'm sure.
Sad times.
Well, because this was the NES Classic had happened. Nobody could find it. This was like the Super Nintendo Classic, never going to be able to find it. I'm like, all right, so I could spend $70 here to get Earthbound, or I could spend $200 to get Earthbound. I'm going to do this.
Right.
And Super Mario RPG.
Man,
you know,
that was an insane rush with those classic consoles. And then like when the Super NES Classic came out, if you waited like a few more months after that, you could find both of them anywhere.
They were
everywhere.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, those people that initially bought the NES Classic and bought it off of eBay for like $300 to $400.
Yep.
How did they feel after seeing this?
I kind of feel bad. I worked at Best Buy at the time, so we had a couple extra in the back. I just grabbed it.
There you go.
Oh, did you?
Nice.
There they are.
Man, Kelly, I'm so mad because I've always wanted to know somebody that worked at Best Buy. And I keep missing. Yeah. I just keep missing people as they left.
I just found with that, like, the amount of people at work who are, oh my god, you got one. How did you get one? I said, I just pre-ordered it. Like, I don't know, like, why. Like, it's your own fault you don't have one. I just pre-ordered one at my local store and I got it. Like, it was. I mean, we had a supply issue over here in Europe as well, but it was just, you know. The pre-ordering wasn't too difficult. I think for the problem that you guys had was, I guess, pre-orders outweighed the supply, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes.
We didn't supply issue in that Miyamoto sent a boat to block the Suez Canal to delay extra shipment. Because they showed up eventually. They were somewhere.
There's probably a container at the bottom of the South Indian Sea just full of NES classics. Yeah.
It's just another case. It's another case of a company being like, nobody's going to want this thing. No, nobody. Nintendo? Who cares? Let's make like 7 of them. It's fine.
And now we've got 1 million of these Game & Watch that they can't get rid of.
Yes.
And see, now they're like, we'll never make this many again because they're everywhere.
Exactly.
Nobody bought them. Next time we'll make less than even when we made the least of something.
So they'll make a Super Mario World one and it'll have like 5 of them.
Yeah, exactly. There's like the GameCube Classic limited to 25 consoles. All being sold through Supreme.
Oh my god. That's another episode.
But since they did this, Geoff, or I want to start with you, Geoff, but I want to go through everybody eventually. Did you play any of these re-releases? I know Anthony's played the Game Boy Advance version, but did you ever pick up any of these new versions of it? And if you did, what was the experience like? Does it hold up, or is it, the original's the way to go?
Yeah, no, I played the GBA game. I've got all of those. I've got all 4 in their bizarre order, and they are fantastic. Once you've got a backlit GBA, they are fantastic games to play through again. Really, they're probably the best portable versions of those games. Obviously, with the Switch now, it kind of makes that mute. Yeah. But I do, obviously, with the Switch, I completed Mario World earlier this year without knowing we were going to do an episode on it. And it's now... I've got the SNES Classic, which I can now lend out to people who don't have theirs or it didn't get one, so I don't need to worry about that because I've got the Switch and all the SNES games on there. So it is good. I mean, I know I kind of lamented Nintendo for not making the most of Mario World. They just kind of bypassed
the merchandising
that era and gone straight to 3D from 8-bit. But yeah, like they've given it to you in enough ways to play it. There's no excuse why you can't play this game. And I'm not one of those, because I can't afford to be. I don't have the space. But I'm not one of those. You need to play it on an original console.
Yeah.
You need to play it on an original TV. You can't play it. You can't play emulation. You can't play ROM. It's not how you should do it. It's like, man, like just pick up a classic or download it on not download it, but get it on Switch. Just play this game. And if you haven't played this game for the last year, play it now. Like, it deserves to be replayed in any way, shape, or form you can get your hands on it.
Unlike Geoff, we do not advocate for emulation. It is theft. You should go to jail. You should honestly probably be executed. Wink.
Oh damn!
So don't emulate.
Thank God I'm in Europe.
Don't do that. That's wrong. Don't go to any number of emulation sites. Download a ROM. Install it onto your computer and play the games that way. That is wrong. Do not purchase a wireless controller that you can Bluetooth connect to your computer so you're still playing with some type of original hardware. Don't do that. That's wrong. We don't do that.
I've heard SNES 9X is not the one to use.
Yeah,
so don't use that one.
The worst one.
Don't use it.
Yeah,
they'll steal all your personal information, I'm sure. Kelly, what about you? Have you played any of these ports or re-releases? How do they stack up, do you think, in terms of compared to the original release?
Oh, the only other version I've played has been on the SNES Classic.
Okay.
And that was probably for about... I mean, I was super excited to get the system, and then I played it probably for about 2 hours total, going through all the games. So, and it's not like I was against it, original hardware only type. It's just that my Super Nintendo was hooked up for years.
Yeah.
So when these re-releases came out, I still had the Super Nintendo hooked up. So if I really wanted to play that game, there wasn't enough differences in these re-releases for me to play it on a new system. So I've played through it multiple times, but always on the Super Nintendo.
And so now you get to play it on your sweet, crispy Super NT.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And you can see all the bleeding edge pixels.
It's gorgeous on that. So.
What about you, Anthony? I know your main experience was with a port, but aside from the GBA port, you played any of these other ones, and even including the GBA. What's the experience like, you think?
I mean, I did play it on the Switch on the what do you call the online what do you call the Super NES whatever collection thing whatever. But I there's nothing like playing it with the original controller though. It's something about it. So when I got the Super NES Classic, I figured, okay, cool, let me set this up, whatever. But then the online Switch service came up. And then they were selling the wireless Super NES controllers straight from Nintendo. So I got one of those, and it's great, man. It's just great sitting back with the original controller from Nintendo, because we don't do pirated stuff here.
We don't do that. No.
Oh,
you are only allowed, if you listen to this podcast, any game that we talk about that you want to go play, you have to buy complete and boxed from eBay at full price. Yes. If somebody is trying to offer you a lower price, you offer them more money.
But yeah, man, that's the most recent that I've I played it. But again, like it's like what Kelly said, like you just start scrolling through stuff and you're like, oh, let me try this. Oh yeah, let me try that. And then you just wind up not playing anything at all. So yeah, to me, playing it, let me see if I get this right. Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2.
Hey,
I nailed it.
Because
I was reading it, but still nailed it. That's to me, that was my best experience with the game. Just being able to just play it whenever I wanted, and it's just I love this game, man. I love it.
Beautiful cover art on that too, of Mario with his cape holding his feather or whatever.
Yep, exactly.
Very nice. Also, to counter Geoff's point that Nintendo doesn't care about Super Mario World, does do the other Super Mario Brother games get a 13 episode animated TV series?
Touche.
I don't think so.
That's a good
Broadcast
point.
on NBC from September to December of 1991. My birth happened when this was airing on NBC.
This is your time, man.
I was blessed. I'm sure that there was a tiny television in whatever birthing room my mother was in that was playing this.
The first sounds you ever heard were, "It's a me."
Exactly. That's why I claim Italian, even though I'm not.
There you go.
Somebody, any of you tell me you've seen this show, because now I need to see it.
I mean, I have. I'm not gonna lie. I believe it was on Saturday mornings. I think it was on the Saturday NBC cartoon block that they have.
That would make sense.
Yeah, and
animated by Deke Entertainment.
Oh, Deke! We would that I can't ever forget. I mean, we were talking about it before we started recording, but like at the end of, and they, like you said, Arnie, they did other Deke Entertainment. I have to say it like that.
It's French, so you got to pronounce it right.
Deke, and I'm saying it like Mario for some reason. Deke. They would have like at the end of the show they would flash up like, oh yeah, the Deke Entertainment, but it was like a child's voice, right?
It was.
Yeah, it was a child's voice, and it would just be like Deke. And I just never felt right about Deke Entertainment, but
there's so many that logo is seared into my brain because of that, because I would just hear that little voice at the end of so many of my cartoons. Like, what the hell is this?
Right? And I'm like so 13-year-old immature. So it's like Deke Entertainment, yeah.
Oh Lord. Kelly, Jeff, either of you been blessed with the knowledge of this cartoon beforehand?
I did not. Actually, I did not know about it. I remember there was a Super Mario 3 cartoon, but I don't remember the World cartoon at all.
I remember seeing 1 or 2 episodes flash up on TV, but like the other Mario series they did, it was like, it's just awful. Just like, it's a bit like bad. Even like the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon in the early 90s. You're just like, why? Why? I always really quickly went back to the staples, went back to Turtles and what have you.
These were cartoons that we didn't need to see, but we thought we wanted at the time. Yeah. So it was just big. Like I remember like on NBC they had a Zelda cartoon, they had the Mario cartoon, and it's just very forgettable.
You can understand why.
Yeah,
you can understand it. I mean, you got to milk it. You got to make everyone's wanting to make their money out of Mario.
Yeah. But I remember even being younger and thinking, "What is this garbage? This is ridiculous."
Yeah. And this is that kind of that weird paradox of children. Of children are idiots, but they're also not stupid.
Right. I was both. I might still be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many. So. Anybody at least heard of the Donkey Kong Country cartoon? Now that was cursed.
It rings a bell.
That was cursed imagery because they did it in like early. Has anybody seen Reboot?
Of course.
Okay, so they did it in like that type of like early sort of cartoon animation, and it's horrifying. I think they wanted to like try to capture the feel of the games, but it did not work. It's very bad.
No.
But yeah, no, there's a Super Mario Brothers 3. There's like a Pac-Man cartoon back in the day.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Q*bert, I think, also got one.
They were just handing them out, man. Just handing them out.
They were doing it. But then, nowadays, when I want video game cartoons, nobody. Well, Castlevania. I'll give them that. Castlevania's doing a video game.
Yeah, I was going to say, what would be your random question, I guess, but what would be your choice of this series needs an animated, it can be anime style or maybe more Western style, but what, if you were to think right now, what do you want to see a TV series of? What would it be?
I would die for like an anime style, maybe like Gundam type style Star Fox cartoon, like a really gritty like space cartoon. I would have died as a kid. That would have been the coolest.
Yeah. All I got in my head now is Bucky O'Hare.
I was just thinking Bucky O'Hare.
Maybe I should go watch Bucky O'Hare. Maybe that was the cartoon for me, and I never got to experience it.
I think I recently pulled up like the YouTube video of like the intro just because it always stuck in my head. Even if I wasn't watching, I was like, that was badass.
It's energetic, man. It gets you going, that intro. Jeez.
And then obviously, one thing, and again, we don't advocate for this, but there are a lot of ROM hacks of Super Mario World. It's gotten a lot of love from the ROM hacking community. Especially, Super Mario World Kaizo is the one that I think of the most, and that's the one that makes it really fucking hard to play this game. That's the one where like you have to master like spin jumping on like multiple enemies that'll kill you and like just crazy stuff. If you haven't looked it up ever, like if you've never seen it, highly recommend go on YouTube, look at a Let's Play or a playthrough of it. It's I like nuts.
on Wikipedia, the first line is Kaizo Mario World, also known as Asshole Mario. There you go.
I mean, it really is. But I love stuff like that. I don't know if Mario World has done it, but I've also seen people start doing randomizers for Super Nintendo games. The one I see the most is like, I saw one that was like a Super Metroid cross Link to the Past randomizer. So it was like in certain areas you go between Link to the Past and Super Metroid. And like all the items are randomized and all, so you can find like Metroid stuff in Link to the Past and Link to the Past stuff in Super Metroid. Wild stuff. Technology has gone too far.
This is how Terminator
we shouldn't
starts.
Be doing these things. Yeah, this is how Skynet.
Yeah, this is exactly how it happens.
So it does. You know, I think we're a good example of that. The fact that, because I do agree with Geoff, Nintendo really has sort of ignored this game in a lot of respects, especially when it comes to like merchandising and just like little spin-off devices and things like that. It always seems like it's either Mario 1, 2, 3 or it's the new stuff. It's never that sort of, or it's Mario 64 maybe or something, but it's never the Super Mario World Yoshi's Island crowd. They never get anything. But I think it's very evident that there's a lot of love for these games. And I think we're a good representation of that. And I guess that basically I want to wrap up by asking you guys, and we've already kind of been through this, but where does Super Mario World rank for you as far as Mario games go? And I'm not just talking 8-bit, 16-bit, I'm talking in the pantheon of Mario games. Where would you put this game as you know, in like, how much would you like to play it compared to other Mario games? And I'll start with you, Anthony. What do you think?
I think my rankings would all be, my top 3 or 4 would be the 2D Mario games. Yeah, you know, from the NES and this one. Are we including Yoshi's Island in this as well? Does that count?
I would.
I mean, this has got to be number 1. Then this has got to be number 1. I would put Yoshi's Island maybe number 2, only because it kind of took elements from this game and Mario Brothers 3 map wise and stuff, and kind of and then you got Super Mario Brothers 3, which would be my third choice. I think I'd do it in that level. The 3D stuff, I love it. I've enjoyed it, but it doesn't stay in my head as fresh as these.
It doesn't scratch that itch.
Right. It doesn't stay as fresh. If I play one of these, if I play 3D World like 30 minutes ago, I'm still thinking about a game 30 years ago. That's fresher in my head, you know. So I think that would be my top. If I had to do a top 3, that would be it.
All right, Kelly, what about you?
Well, for me, for Super Mario World, it is, like I said, my favorite Mario game. I think it did a really good job of. I think the more recent Marios, they just have too many collectibles for me. Trying to go off and find all the stars and everything else. I don't want to do that. I want to have my get through the levels, have that challenge from that instead of trying to collect 85,000 different things in a level. So for me, it was perfect. Second favorite platformer ever. And my favorite platformer didn't come out until over 20 years later with Rayman Legends. So that one to me is pinnacle of platforming.
That is, yeah.
All right. And then Geoff, let's round it out here. What do you got?
I mean, Rayman Legends, Jesus, that's an incredible game. That's an incredible game, Kelly. Yeah. I think that's probably one of my favorite games as well in the world of platforming. But Mario. This is my number one pick for Mario games. Number one. It was, it was just, imagine the pressure that Nintendo were under, or Miyamoto and co were under, to go, we got a new console, everybody wants the new Mario game, like the world is desperate for Mario. Not only did they deliver a game, in my opinion, better than the 8-bit games, but they delivered a game that wasn't even better on the console, and this was a launch game. This is typical Nintendo at their best. Like, here's a game at launch, nobody's going to beat this. Just like Breath of the Wild. Like, we're the only ones who are going to do better than this. And I mean, Yoshi's Island is a great game as well. Yeah. I know some people prefer it. Plenty of people prefer it. But for me, Mario 3D games don't really come close. Same as Kelly. I'm not a collectathon guy. I don't care about, they say thousands of stars and moons and outfits. Like, I'm the same as you, Kelly. The challenge is getting through the stages. Yeah. And that's where 2D Mario is absolutely king. It's one of those things where when you talk about best games of all time, Mario World, it feels like such an obvious choice that I always start to think, maybe there are games I've enjoyed more. But whenever I boot up Mario World, it's like I'm instantly, like I said to you guys, I'm instantly remembering everything that I needed to do. Yeah. And I could not play it for 10 years, and pick it up in 10 years' time, and still just innately muscle memory just kicks in and off I go. I recently tried to play Sunshine, and I'm like, it takes 20 minutes, half an hour to get going. Yep. It's like, it's got a long intro, don't care. It's Mario, I just want levels. Yes. I want one text box. Tell me if maximum, just give me levels. And that's where the 3D games, in my mind, as much as Odyssey was fun, the ending was fantastic with Bowser and all of that element. I don't want to spoil too much in case listeners haven't played Odyssey. So it's got a fantastic ending, but the build up is like, I just give me levels, just give me stuff to do. That's where Mario World number one. There we go.
Awesome. Yeah, for me, if we're talking in the span of Mario, there's a lot of stuff. The only sort of Mario properties that I think even come close to me in terms of love for as much as I love Super Mario World is like maybe the Paper Mario stuff, but it's its own sort of deal. As we're talking platformers strictly, with a bullet, Super Mario World, a number one, not even close. Mario 64, probably my second favorite. Just because of the age I was when I played it. It was, blew my, Super Mario World melted my brain, and then Mario 64 blew out the rest out of my head.
How do you function? Oh my goodness.
I just wait, and occasionally I grow back enough of my brain to be a functioning human until another game just explodes it. It was revolutionary for the time. It was an experience like no other. I didn't appreciate that as a kid the way I do now. It was just like, it's a video game. It's a great video game. I love the shit out of it. Now looking back, I'm like, this was peak performance. This was Nintendo at its best. 2D Mario platforming. I don't know that they'll ever do better than this. I don't know that they even want to try. They're fine going their 3D route, and I respect that. I appreciate that. I prefer that. People who want more 2D Mario games, you've already got them. Yeah. They're as good as they're gonna get. Don't worry about that. Let them keep doing what they want to do on that side.
And Arnie, that's maybe why we just don't see them milking it, because they're just like, we don't want to touch this.
Yeah.
If this is Miyamoto's favorite Mario game, it's really like, we don't touch this. Yeah. We don't even begin to think about it.
Yeah. I do want to see the Miyamoto cut where he finishes it.
Oh, that would be amazing.
To feel like he completed that game at some point.
Imagine they'd be like, okay, we decided to let you finish the game. Oh no, it's fine now. I was just joking.
He's like, I'm not getting involved with these insane people. I'm not fixing this game. And I think that's about it, man. That's a good note to wrap up. One last question. It's my fun question at the end of the episode. The Koopalings, Bowser's children. Didn't really talk about them that much, but I love them. I love them so much that I want to know which ones is your favorite, because I have opinions about this. So Anthony, I'm gonna start with you again.
Man,
who's your favorite Koopaling?
I can't. It's funny because as much as I played this game, I remember specifically like dealing with these guys. I
even put a picture for reference.
I know. I'm gonna just going off the pictures though. My boy Roy, man, look at that
with the shades.
Yeah, that's my man.
Yeah,
Roy Koopa.
Roy Koopa. What about you, Kelly?
We've got to go with the only female, with
Wendy.
Wendy. Yes. Come on, let's face it, back in those days there weren't too much female representation in these games.
True.
So got to go with Wendy on that.
Fair enough. Jeff, give me your favorite.
I'm going to go with the European. What I see is the European representative, Ludwig von
Koopa.
Gotta go with my boy Ludwig.
Yeah, it was.
But no, I was gonna say because they do. Even looking at Roy, they got attitude. They didn't have this in. They don't have this in the new 3D games.
Yeah.
They just don't have that edge.
Yeah, it was fun when Nintendo was willing to flaunt copyright protection laws and just be like, well, this is, Iggy Pop. I've never heard it. This is Iggy Koopa, sir. So Iggy Koopa was always a big favorite. Lenny from Motorhead, Lenny Koopa, Morton Koopa Jr.
Hilarious.
But I gotta say, and this is what I want to leave our listeners off with. As I was researching them, because I was like, I knew some of them instinctively. I was like, oh, Iggy Pop, Morton Downey Jr. And then I was like, who the fuck is Larry Koopa? Like, Larry Koopa is just such a like nothing name. Like, nobody would ever be able to know. And so I looked it up. And I have this quote from, I believe this is the Super Mario World wiki. It's the Super Mario World hacks wiki, apparently. I looked up Larry Koopa, and it says, Larry Koopa is the seventh and final Koopaling you face. Strangely enough, Larry isn't named after a singer like the other Koopalings. Instead, he's named after Larry King, a popular talk show host and CNN news anchor who has had many wives.
Oh, wow.
What? Interesting.
So
that's a redeeming factor.
Super Mario World Central Wiki over here throwing shade on Larry King.
But that was the only place my head went, was Larry King, thinking I can't think of anything else.
You are more connected to these creators than me, because I was like, Larry the Cable Guy, like Larry, who is this guy? But yeah, the other ones are just all singers, and I was like, oh, I can.
Who's which singer's Wendy then?
Let me look it up real quick. This is gonna be amazing content. But because I looked her up too, but I can't remember. I think it's Wendy O. Williams. Is that her name? Let's see. Yeah, the late Wendy O. Williams, lead singer for the Plasmatics.
That's
interesting.
So awesome.
For the Plasmatics.
That's right. I think Tezuka was like a old school like music head, and I think that's why he did all these.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But I think with that beautiful quote about Larry Koopa, we can sort of close the book on Super Mario World. This was incredibly fun. So thank you guys for hopping on and sharing your memories of Super Mario World with me. Often imitated, never duplicated, as I like to say a lot about a bunch of these really good games. Stands alone. But with that, we are the Region Free Gamers podcast, the podcast fluent in gaming. Thank you guys for hanging out on the Twitch and for listening, as always, if you're doing that right now. Please, if you like what you heard, and if you agree with us that Super Mario World is the best Super Mario platformer, leave us a review on iTunes, 5 stars, and tell us what you think. Leave all your complaints. Or compliments. One of them will get you response from me. I'll let you take a guess as to which one that'll be. If you want to find us on Instagram, at Region Free Gamers Podcast, on Twitter, at Region Free Gamer, you can find us on our Discord. And if you want to join our Discord on the basic tier level, you can contact us at Twitter or Instagram. We'll send you an invite for that. But if you want to get access to the secret special rooms where all the cool stuff happens, you can sign up at our Patreon.
Star Road, huh?
Yeah, yes. That's right. Yeah, if you want to be on Donut Plain, That's fine. That's respectable. If you want to get on the Star Road, on the special world, you hop on that Patreon for $1 a month. You can be in there and get some other bonus stuff that we're working on. But other than that, guys, much love, much appreciation. Thank you guys for joining me once again. And that'll be it. Till next time. See you. Obviously, Yoshi